I really like movies about witches and magicians. They're full of this atmosphere. I can explain. And sometimes there's movies are so real that I start to believe it may happen in everyday life. Oh, the blogger broke the Harry's arm, but they cure, and in some days it's real magic. Now due to hydroxyapatite, we can make the same in reality, and even we can do it faster. What? It can't be true. I have read something about it some days ago, and I am not mistaken, this is compound is just part of toothpaste. But this is just one way to using hydroxyapatite. It can be used for pressing bones on a 3D printer. Stop! Bones don't have hydroxyapatite. They consist of collagens and other proteins. Consists of 60–70% of the mineral compounds, hydroxyapatite and others, and 30–40% of the organic ones, collagen, etc. So, if you put bone in the oxide, it loses the mineral ones and you end up with no hydroxyapatite. And as a result, the bone will, like a tendon, to do the organic compounds. Okay, we can print the bone, but how we can transport it if it hasn't the organic compounds? It is the best thing of this procedure. When we transplant the bones printed with hydroxyapatite, the organism produces collagen and other organic matter in these bones by itself. It's really revolutionary. It's cooler than you've seen in the Harry Potter movies, isn't it? It looks marvelous indeed, but I've heard of one illness appearing after transplantation. Dangerous consequences. I forgot its name, but I'm sure that this illness won't appear in this case of Gary, because his bone is grown in his arm. I know what are you telling about it. I can surely say that using the hydroxyapatite we avoid the consequence. Too. By the way, it's called the immune conflict, and you're right, it's really dangerous. Do you know what is it? No, I just want then open organs and they transported on the difficult to the organism reacts. It tries to remove the outright organ. When heart, lungs and kidneys are transported, there is always a risk of the conflict. You're right, you described the general theme. I want to add some details. First, I note why the conflict arises. The mechanism is very simple. The cause of all is MHC proteins. Okay, let's take the kidneys for example. You know they are made of cells. Many of the MHC proteins are outside of these cells. Their function is to help the organism understand whether the cells are endangerous or exodangerous. So we can say that MHC proteins are like ID for cells. It's very serious and important process for the cells. If after transplantation it turns out the MHC proteins of the transplanted organ and the organism are different to much the organ is rejected. In principle, the siblings of the parents and their children have the similar MHC. That's why their organs are recommended for transplantation in worst case, when the risk of the immune conflict is much lower than if the organs of other people are used. I've heard about the cases when the relatives' organs were rejected. Yes, it occurs. For example, the kidney from mother of Ivan Klasik were transplanted to him. The risk was low, but the organ was rejected. But the second try was successful. His father's kidneys were accepted. The young man lives healthy now. Then, if the printed these hydroxyapatite bones do not contain any proteins at all, they don't have MHC. That means 100% probably of the successful transplantation. Yes, the hydroxyapatite can repair you like in the movies about magic, fast and guaranteed. But what about the price? It can be cool, but too expensive. Nope, the bones are available because their production is much cheaper than looking for a donor. And now the technology is being developed and starts to be used even in the plastic surgery. It sounds fantastic. And how are the bones made? I mean, what from hydroxyapatite has, etc. You see, the hydroxyapatite is powder. So for making the bonds they mix 9 parts of hydroxyapatite with 1 part of polylactide. This mixture looks like plastic and has the same structure. It can be used in 3D printing. Finally, when the printer finishes its work, the bond is heated to 400 degrees. After a few hours, it is ready for the transplantation and can be used. But it's not the only use of this compound. You say that you had read about another one. It connects with the everyday beauty and health. Toothpaste? Exactly! Yes, the best and the most expensive toothpastes contain hydroxyapatite. I've seen a lot of paints containing fluoride, not this component. The situation is the water and food has enough fluoride and the people don't need more. A lot of fluoride in the organism can cause the dental fluorosis. This is not dangerous in general, but brings more risk in the long term. But why? I will always believe it in the fluoride toothpaste. You see, the fluoride toothpaste has one important effect, the mineralization. One study shows the consequences of it clearly. This research shows the cognitive effect of the microstructural hydroxyapatite reintegrates to enamel unlike the fluoride one. The mineralization also causes the cold air sensitivity and tactile sensitivity. Another study reports about this and proves that hydroxyapatite paste reduces dentine hypersensitivity. Nevertheless, the fluoride toothpaste whitens the teeth perfectly. Does it mean I should to make choice, health or beauty? No, after using hydroxyapatite toothpaste then really get whiter and without any harm. Finally, they look like naturally white without the fluoride. So, did I convince you that the magic isn't only in the movies? The modern technologies make possible really wonderful things, the things we couldn't imagine before. Will you continue watching your movie full of magic? Don't you mind if I am enjoying you?